Hello and good morning, everyone. Good to see you. Paul Tranny here. I'm going to dive into simple to complex. We're going to do some, we're going to basically be a little caterpillar that becomes a beautiful butterfly. So simple to complex. We're going to use a lot of morphing, a lot of distorting, a lot of that fun stuff. And again, you can see some of that right here. Boom, distort. Wait, distort. Bend, transform, warping, all that fun stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and jump in to my file. And thanks so much for joining me today. I see you. I see you. I see you. Gross Mask, if that's your real name, from Venezuela. Robert RB, the Moon's Pencil. Is that your God-given name, as they say? Cindy, good to see you from London. Finally, we are here. Vanessa, Anthony, let's get this party started. And I just want you guys to know that I appreciate you. It is the season of giving and the season of just being thankful. And I am thankful for you guys as an audience and just as fellow peers, to be honest with you. Let's just jump out there. Just so you know, if you're joining me elsewhere, I can see you as well if you give me a second. And I'm just over on behance.net/Adobe Live. So again, this is the Creative Challenge. You can see a number of them. Simple to complex is what we're going to work on, so we can get that started, get that file. We're watching the video right now, but also be mindful of all these other ones. So this is week 2. I'm going to get more complex. And we're also going to use, you have all these assets to choose from. So like natural selections, I know a lot of people put a work into that. So I might use some assets from it. So when I say natural selections, go ahead and get that started file right there. But simple to complex, if you click right there, you can see it right here. It looks unassuming, but what it really is it is this file, as you can see right here, and it has a caterpillar, and it has a butterfly, and it has a branch. So we're going to move through this pretty quickly, and it's going to be a lot of fun. All right, Michelle. Thank you, Michelle. You're too kind. All right. Thank you so much, Sam, for posting that link. I really appreciate it. And hello everywhere else. So this is what we have. We're going to click through each layer one by one, right? And we're going to just cut them out first off, right? So we'll spend a couple minutes doing that, okay? Because we're going to turn this caterpillar into a butterfly, and we have a branch to work with, okay? I would typically ask, hey, what would you guys use to cut this out? I typically just go right over here to the properties panel. If you know me, I would just do a remove background and see what happens. Boom. What? Remove background? Yeah, it removed the background. We could see some parts right in here, as usually is the case, that might still needs to kind of get cut out a little bit more. If you just double click on that layer mask that it just made, and again, I did this I think on day 2, we can go in and we can use the Refine Edge brush, even for his little whiskers. He's got a little, he's like, geez, for just being a caterpillar. It's almost like a full-grown caterpillar. He's got a little mustache, I guess. You could always hit B for brush. That switches to your brush, right? Hold down the Option key or Alt key, so we're removing, and we can kind of clean that up, right? That's all about selections. That's all I'm going to do there. Click OK, right? There we have our lovely caterpillar. We have our butterfly as well. I love Select Subject too. Select Subject is awesome, right? Hello, Holly. Good to see you here. Hopefully everybody's joining me from all walks of life and every social media platform as well. So, okay, so here we are. Same thing with this butterfly. We could do a couple things here. When it comes to selections, just so you know, we could use Select Subject. You could always use, this is from a couple years ago. We'll go to Select. There's something called Focus Area Select. So if you need to select something within a certain focus area, you could use that. And again, focus in range, it does an auto. I just hold my hands up to let you know I'm not doing anything. I don't want any trouble. I just want this darn thing selected, right? But it will do that automatically, and it can output it as a selection. But you could actually start to adjust that range. So you could always try that. I'm making you aware of it. What's Paul going to do? Use remove background. Boom, there it is. Oh no, I missed parts. I got to get to the distorting and warping. But again, you're not going to start from just a clean image. So I'm using the quick selection tool, right? Because right in the name, it's quick. It does what I want it to, right? I could use, sort of do a color selection, but it's going to grab some of this green right in here. So I'm not going to use it, right? And then what do? We want to make sure it's painted with black, so we could just fill it with black like that, right? I'm not going to sweat the I don't even know what these are called. The little like tentacles. Right now. So again, we have 1, we have 2. Let's do the branch. Again, we're getting more complex this week. I know Sam knows how to do this. Chad, of course, knows how to do this stuff. Sig, but maybe you don't. Maybe some people don't. Right? So I'm looking at this image and I'm thinking, geez, I want to select all kind of like the warm pixels, or just basically I need to remove the background. We could try a number of tools in here, but we have this issue. It needs to get in tight there. What I will do is I will use channels, because I'm like, geez, I need to kind of select the blue pixels, right? And if I just increase the saturation, you can see, yeah, there's blue back there. But right down here, we'll hold down Command, we'll click, and sure enough, it selects all those blue pixels, right? Just like as you can see right here. And then all you need to do, it selected all the blue or the background pixels typically. Is it an antenna? Thank you, I'm an idiot. You can go ahead and call me, it's an antlers. Did I call it antlers? I might have. The darn antlers. That's what I'm talking about. You know what? Miscommunication can be misunderstood for creativity, but I love that idea. You could put some antlers on a caterpillar, which is why I brought up the natural selections file we worked on. So from there, what do? We hold down the Option key or Alt key because we want to remove what we have selected. We click, and there we go. We get it, right? We could select that, do a levels. Yeah, I'm getting tricky on you guys. I'm being so tricky right now. Oh, yeah. This is supposed to be about like simple to complex. By the way, what just happened? I have to show this to you. This is so important. Right? Look, it actually didn't get all the background. Guess what? You could select that layer mask, use a levels, Command L, right? And then I can just drag that and it's like, oh, you know what? Grab more of those pixels, make more of those pixels black, make sure some are white. And again, I'm just adjusting that mask like so, okay? So that's all I'm doing right there. And now we have our branch isolated. Okay, let's move on with the rest of our life, shall we? Yes, show channels as colors as a preference. Thank you, Richard, awesome. I called it tentacles. That's like what an octopus had. Why did I call it tentacles? Help me. It is Monday. Welcome, Hugh. Good to have you here. Michaela, awesome. You were never late. You've arrived at the perfectly right time. Here is my caterpillar. Guess what? Once I cut something out, I don't need that background at all. So I will typically go to that layer and I'll just convert it to a smart object, right? Just like that. Converting it to a smart object. It's one simple file that I can always mess with later, right? So there we have it. I'm going to jump this layer, Command J, so we have 2, right? Keeping it back up, if you will. Let's actually get rid of that one. But now we can go ahead and distort this all we want. What I would typically use in this case is Puppet Warp. So go to Edit, Puppet Warp, and now we can stretch this out and do all that fun. Yes! Sean, that's what I'm talking about. Put 8 arms on your butterfly. So let's do this. Adding these points, now we can kind of stretch it out, move this down like so, put another pin right here, rotate it down. Command H will hide that as well, but now we can see kind of what's happening. We can see him kind of moving around and all that fun stuff. So this sort of thing you can play with forever. Oh, I love it. His feet to tentacles. Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. Blub, 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 blub. Right. Just playing with this. By the way, when it comes to these points, you might have a point right here, and you're like, hey, I don't really want to move it. I want to rotate it. So what you can do is hold down the Option key and just roll over the outside, and now you can rotate it up. So now I'm rotating the head up and getting it straight like that. Okay, so now maybe that's what I want to do for a couple of these points just by holding down the Option key, and now it's like straight like a torpedo. Okay, we could put them on the branch if we want to, right? And do a number of things. But how do you have proper control over the puppet warp? Hopefully I've shown you how. By the way, since this is a smart object, what it does is it actually has that puppet warp as a smart filter, right? So I could go back and I can turn that off, and you can see what the original looks like so, like so. And if I jump back into puppet warp, right, we have all of those points as well. You can get crazy with it. Watch this. You ready for this? We can change the mode. We can make the mode distort. Watch what happens when I do distort. Bloop. It gets crazy because it starts dealing with depth. But look at this craziness that's happening. And this is actually what we want to use. Now that we know that this works, this is fine. I showed you how to straighten it out. We're going to put this into a little cocoon. We're going to put our caterpillar into a little cocoon, and it's then going to become a butterfly. Okay, so that's the plan. We'll start right up here. First off, since this is a smart object, we can put this here. Bear with me. Let's do this. Move this guy down like so. Right? Have him slowly kind of crawling up like that. And then the chrysalis, or whatever you call it, we're going to hang that chrysalis like right here, I think. Okay, so we'll take another caterpillar, right? And we will distort it to hang right underneath there. So, puppet warp again, which I have a shortcut for. First, you need to select the correct layer. There we are. Here's all these points, right? We can go to distort, and now we can see we can make parts thinner, parts thicker, and really mess with this a lot. So we'll scrunch this in like that, right? Make this part a little larger, right? You can see the kind of control that you have. Cool. It's looking kind of weird. I get it. Oh yeah. Thank you so much for that, Hugh, as well. So all of these settings, as we go up here at the top, first of all, I'm toggling showing the mesh. I usually show and hide that, but this is sort of how much you actually would be able to distort it. So this expansion, it's going to manipulate more of those pixels for each one of those points. If I drag this up to, say, 25, it's really going to mess with even more pixels as I move this around. Okay, another issue you'll have is you'll have an overlap issue. Like as I roll this up, it's like I can adjust the pin depth. So maybe the pin that I currently have selected, I can put behind all the other pins. And that's what's happening in this case. Again, just kind of tying them up like a knot. There it is. That looks pretty good. That's one way of doing things. The poopa? Is that what you call it? The poopa? Such a funny word. I feel ridiculous for even pronouncing it. But let's take this let's rotate it. This is what I'm going to do. I can do more distortion as well. In this case, this is something I want to do. I can go down to transform, and this is the thing. I might want to stretch it out more, like warp it. Okay? But notice how I don't get that option in here. That's because some options work on pixel-based layers, other ones work on smart objects, right? This doesn't work on a smart object. So what do? At least it already has a filter applied to it. An easy way to get around that is convert it to another smart object if you want to. So watch this. Convert to smart object again. So it puts that puppet warp inside and protects that puppet warp essentially. So now we can go to transform, and now we actually see distort and warp, okay, and these others. Because a lot of people will just rasterize it. Totally fine rasterizing it. But in this case, I want to go to, say, like warp. One thing this does do, which is kind of a bummer, is you get these pins clear out here, right? Which doesn't really help me that much. But let's just play with this. Let's drop a pin right here. Boom. Excuse me, not drop a pin. We're splitting it. So I'm using warp, and I'm splitting these sides. So let's split it right here and right here. Now let's take this. And again, you can see how I can bend this whole thing out like so and get something kind of fun. All right, so again, just different ways for warping and adjusting, right? And we'll play with the color in a second. So yeah, we do love non-destructive workflows, but feel free to use whichever one you want. Like sometimes, let me show you this was during the natural selections, this version that I made. Sometimes I just delete pixels, you know, because I just don't need them. But from this file, I could go ahead and use some of these animals in mine. So I encourage you to do the same thing. All right, Command T, shrink it down, put it right here. Right, let's change the color as well. Go in here, add some hue and saturation. Yeah, it's smart object inception. Smart object inside of another smart object inside of another. Right, this time we want to go ahead and change the color, right? I don't want to change the color of everything, right? But just change the color of this cocoon, if you will. So we'll go right over here. Right click is what you can do and create clipping mask. But what I typically do is hold down the Option key, roll between these two lines, and then just click. And now it clips it to that layer beneath, right? And that's what you get. Shrink it down some more. All right. What about the pixels? What about the children? Right, we could do a number of things with this. So the whole goal of this little pupa or chrysalis or cocoon is to be disguised, right? It can't get eaten while it's sitting there slowly becoming a butterfly. So we could always steal, say for instance, pieces of a leaf, right? We could take this chunk of a leaf right here, right? And those colors, because that's what we need. That's what it's trying to be. It's like, hey, you know what? I'm a leaf. I'm just a little piece of a branch. I'm a twig. I'm a leaf. I'm something else, people. Don't bother me, right? And that's what I'm doing. I'm distorting this. I'm rotating it into place like that. Command T, by the way. And then we can hold down the Shift key, kind of distort it like so, and still apply those same settings. This is what I'll do for you pro users out there. I'll do Command T and then do right click. So look, that same menu that I had to go so far for, that was clear up and edit, and then I go clear down and clear over, it's really an inch away now. So I can just jump down to warp, right? So use it that way, and you'll thank me for it later. Or maybe you won't, and that's okay. It doesn't mean, yeah. I'm just distorting this like so. Let's just do something like that. Boop. Hey guys, I'm a leaf, don't mind me, right? We can play with these blend modes as well, get something nice. Here's hard light, let's clip it like so. Again, I'll just play with this a little bit more. You know, maybe even just changing the opacity or something. Maybe distorting this a little bit more, I don't know. Anyways, we have this done, we have this little lump. I think we're there, don't you? We could do a little hue and saturation, that looks a little bit better. Honestly, what I would do here is I'd probably like smudge it or make it look a little bit more bulbous. Okay, so notice how this leaf is straight up flat. This is what I would do. I'd go to filter. This is my favorite filter, liquefy. Yeah, baby. Jump in here. Zoop. Here we go. That's right. We have right in here the bloat tool. Let's make it smaller. But we can kind of bloat this out and just make this look just a little bit more interesting and smudge this. Come on. Where are you, smudge? Right. Smudge this. Just make this look a little bit more organic and like there's something inside. So that's all I'm doing right here. We want to pinch it. Guess what? We can pinch it as well. All right, cool. You guys get the idea. Shoop, shoop. Pin it down. Da, da. There we are. That's fun. We also have the smudge tool in here. All right, I got to get onto this. I'm just realizing I only have like 5 minutes or so. So stop messing with this, Paul. It's fine. Really, it's fine. It's fine. Oh, there we go. Multiply. Done. It's hidden. It's underneath. Nobody's going to notice. Right? Shrink it down. We're doing the 3 stages. Okay? Also, for this caterpillar, I'd probably change its look as well. But let's go ahead and move on. Hide that. Hide that. Take all this stuff. Move it down. Like so. Get it into position. And whether you do this chrysalis or not, it's totally up to you. But what I do want to do is like, hey, let's get that butterfly in there. Here's that butterfly with the little antennas that I would probably just draw on again, right? So that's what I would do. Let's go ahead and make this a smart object. Inside of that, ooh, let's not do that. Hold on. Let's convert back to layers, which is a new thing. If you're like, oh, I didn't mean to make that a smart object, convert it back to layers. Now it's back to normal, right? And then we can go ahead and draw out the little antenna really fast. Come on, work with me. Work with me. Faster. Faster. This is not what I want to spend my time doing. There we go. Sure, why not? That's good. Taking both of those. Now we can convert those to a smart object. Now we can shrink it down. Right? Now we can actually combine it with something else. Remember, all this stuff right down here then become this butterfly that we could start to manipulate. Okay. Hey, and this is the thing. This is wildlife illustration, which is like a legit, you know, a legit career, a legit job. You know, it's like somebody out there is probably wondering, hey, can you make X? Okay. Here's something you do really fast. I'm gonna do this really fast. Command J. Rasterize layer. That's right. Let's go in here. Let's chop this up. Oh. Hurry, Paul, hurry. There's no time. Copy, paste. Taking this part. Let's get rid of this part of this butterfly. We're getting rid of the wing. Because you know what? It's flat, it's boring, right? We want to split this up, put this on a new layer, right? This wing. Command T, right click, flip horizontal, move it into place, and guess what? Now we can go ahead and distort. So selecting distort, distort gives me this ability to kind of move that up, make it that certain angle that I want it at, right? Rotate it as well. I should be able to rotate it. Of course, that's a different selection, but do something kind of like this, as you can see. Boom, boom, done. We did that fast. B for brush, make that size much smaller, right? And then just kind of draw out the wonderful like legs. They'd be like really spindly and like really small maybe down there, right? This guy should be pretty tiny, so that's why I'm kind of playing this kind of fast and loose in this case, right? Typically I wouldn't use black as well, but there you have it. Just hint of the legs. Convert that to a smart object, and now we have him kind of flying away, if you will, as part of our composition. Cool. Good. Learning a lot in a short amount of time. I'm doing my job. That's good. But that's what I have right now. I would export this out, you know, as I wonder how big this is. But just go ahead and post that to the Discord, and I've been noticing some awesome things. But also have some fun with it, because again, we have all these other assets, right? We could take any one of these. We take this horse, for instance, right? It's like you guys spent all that work like cutting out stuff. Let's reuse them. Let's take this horse, for instance, and you know, we could decide that, you know what, this butterfly is we could put these butterfly wings on this horse, knowing what we know now, right? So have some fun with it in that respect, and just be creative, right? That's up to you. That's sort of next level stuff. Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Sig. Thank you, Visajan. By the way, I'm super excited about who we have up next. By the way, we have Vector Art with Julia Zuavo. Julia is like one of my favorite like illustrators. She's going to be working, of course, in Adobe Illustrator, but she just does awesome work. So yeah, and stay tuned for what I end up with. I'll post it to Instagram later. PTRANI. So happy to have you guys here. Happy to be your host this week, and have a beautiful one. I'll leave you with this lovely schedule and in Julia's very capable hands, but we have an awesome day lined up. Thanks so much for hanging out, everybody. We will see you in a second. See you soon.